Welcome, everyone. Today is April 13th, 2021, and I'm TiTi,
I'm TayTay.
and this is tea time.
Cheers.
Cheers. So, we are here to explore relevant topics around holistic health and a raw vegan lifestyle together. With us and with you, we're creating a conversation. And if you want to learn more about us, you can check out our Instagram. I'm at Cseuz, and you are
At Joyful Raw Life.
Wunderbar. And we are going to explore harmonic raw vegan creativity today.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Harmonic raw vegan creativity.
So before we jump into it, Taylor, which tea are you drinking and what are you grateful for?
What great reminders. All right. I've got some locally made kombucha.
Wow.
Yeah, that's my take on the tea today. I'm guessing it was made with black tea. That's typical of kombucha. And this flavor is ginger and turmeric, or curcuma and jengibre. And yeah, it's from Puerto Viejo, Costa Rica. It's really nice. It's on ice here. And today I'm grateful for this. I'm really grateful for this. So I haven't been able to do a live for like a week now, and I'm having withdrawals, and we postponed the tea time too, and that this is always something I look forward to. So I'm really, really grateful that this is happening today, and I'm able to talk with my bestie, of course. That's always a treat. And to include all of you all in this conversation as well about something that is so important and so revolutionary and exciting and beautifully profound. So I'm very grateful to be here. What about you, my dear? What are you sipping on and what are you grateful for?
I'm enjoying peach apricot. It's called honeybush because it's from, I think, the area where they create rooibos.
Mm-hmm.
So it's super fruity and perfumey and warm. And I'm grateful for your enthusiasm about this topic. I'm grateful for our topic today. I'm very curious how it's going to evolve and what kind of things are going to pop out in the conversation. And I'm grateful for the power of intention and how you don't need to know what you got to do, but you just got to trust the anchor point. So I'm grateful
Yeah.
for our anchor points that are loving.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. So
I,
we're
I
having
also
some.
love that we're kind of like doing the same do today.
I was about to say that. Yeah, I was like, but mine's like rocking a little this way, and yours is rocking like a little bit that way. Like we're balancing each other, Tina. Like,
Nice.
oh my god, yeah, it's rad. And yo, like we're gonna have some background traffic because I'm at a cafe here, and the toilet's right there. So it's basically a hot spot, hot zone.
You've got the action, Jackson.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I love that. And I love what you said about intention, as always. Like, y'all, Tina's always talking about intention. And I recently, like the profundity of intention and like how powerful that is recently, like really dropped into my reality. So I hope that y'all can pick some of that up too, because it's so true, having loving intentions, loving anchors. And I think that ties in beautifully with our topic today.
Yes, it's exciting. So welcome
Yeah.
everyone. We're on two
Yes.
sides or parts of the earth. I'm in California right now, Northern California, and Taylor's in Costa Rica. And the tropical and I don't know what, this is called a banana belt, but it's
Mountains, yeah.
yeah, kind of hills, ocean, mountains area, forested.
Big trees.
Yeah. So Taylor, when I say harmonic raw vegan creativity. Let's just let that sink in.
Yeah, I think let's just feel it first.
Yeah.
Yeah. Harmonic, raw vegan creativity. And y'all can all say that to yourselves too, out loud. Even if you're in public, be weird. It's cool.
Harmonic, raw vegan creativity.
Harmonic, raw vegan creativity.
Taylor, what pops in your mind and heart space when you hear that?
I think I noticed that my mind pops and my heart space pops when I say it. Like that's what happens. It just like it's like space created, opening, yeah, like freshness, excitement, love. Yeah, like freedom. I feel the freedom as well. Feels very expansive. Very, very expansive and loving. Like warm. Feels warm. Yeah. Yeah. What about you? What are you feeling when you say it?
Curiosity and breath and yeah, I'm, originally harmonic creativity was kind of like our catchphrase, and we're kind of plugging it into this raw vegan lifestyle and seeing how does that even apply, and what, I want to explore what that means to us.
We're gonna ground it in.
Yeah, like
we'll ground it in. Yeah.
Right now, so for harmonic creativity first came into my awareness because I was doing the opposite. I was feeling completely overwhelmed and anxious with all the things I was wanting to create, and I was getting a ton of input from multiple voices. More, and differing opinion, just a lot. And I realized I had kind of gotten off my base, like I felt very uncentered, and it really took its toll on my health, I guess, which is where it comes into also the raw vegan aspect for me of like wanting to cultivate love, health, immunity, vitality, and so I was noticing how just this thing I thought was my side thing was affecting all of me, and I was feeling horrible, and I was like, what's the opposite of all this overwhelm and anxiety? And for me, it was, I just, I like to flip the coin and find out what the opposite of something is, if I want to call it into my life. And just, I knew I wanted to be creating, and I had become stagnant because of the overwhelm. So just calling in creativity and doing it in a harmonic way, a way that feels peaceful, a way that feels balanced, loving, like productive, constructive, authentic, truthful, and just aligned in a good way, a right way, the feeling way that feels good and right inside and loving. And so that was something I wanted to call into this year. And I'd love to hear how this like popped into your realm, and like what, because it feels like you added all we had a conversation earlier, but that it really sunk in for you into all these multiple levels and ways too, that really opened my mind to it. And that's why we're talking about this, because it's so huge. It's not just like this flippant phrase.
Yeah.
Phrase.
Just
like,
sounds
let's
cool.
Just talk about that.
Yeah.
Let's
random.
like this. And so I'd love to hear whatever you want to expand upon it, or how it came to your radar and realm, and like I want to hear all about it.
Yeah, I'm glad you started with that, because I was we just picked a topic. We kind of like threw around like some things we talk about, But this is really like present moment free flow. And I was thinking, I was like, oh, you know, it'd be cool if we both said that story of what this is. And yeah, you just automatically went in there, Tina, like appreciate it so much. So yeah, I remember, okay, this seems to be kind of how we work too. Tina like dropped some wisdom down and I'm like, yeah, whoa, you know, like revolutionary concept. And I'll sit with it, and later on it's like it like develops in me, or it like expresses in me, or it tells me more about what it is. So this is another conversation we had where she said these words together, harmonic creativity, that I never heard together. And I was like, wow, like what is that? What does that mean? Like it felt really important. And you know, you were sharing a bit about like the story around it and how it was expressing in your life, and I don't know, it just like really, it touched a deep place in myself apparently. And you know, I wasn't like consciously grappling with the idea at all by any means, but it was there. It was like the seed planted. And then recently I've been in Costa Rica the past 2 weeks, and I was at this retreat, and um, I had this really deep experience where I'm a Reiki master, and I'm very sensitive. I'm attuned to like I have very strong intuition and ability to like tap into frequencies because I'm attuned to a frequency, and that like helps me attune to other frequencies. And it also helps me receive a lot of downloads if that I ask for, of course, and ones that like they just happen. Sometimes I don't ask for them, but I'm open and receptive. And what really came through in this experience I had, I received this like, it was like a sacral chakra transmission. Okay, because I was like, let's surrender to God's love and wisdom and everything. And I was having conversation with Jesus because I talk to like guides and different spiritual figures and even just like energy itself. And so I was talking to Jesus, and he was basically like, you know, there's enough God's love for everybody. And I was like, oh, that's cool, like whatever. And he was like, no, I'll show you. And so I proceeded to have this experience under a tree where my hands, so in Reiki, you place your hands on different parts of your body, and you can, the energy will be transferred that way. That's one of the ways it's transferred. You don't have to do it that way. But I was laying under a tree, and I had my hands like here, like sacral, solar plexus area. And my hands, y'all, with Reiki, they get hot sometimes when you're doing Reiki, but sometimes not. Again, it's like, it's very variable. It's very individual. My hands were hotter than they've ever been in my life. And there was like more potent, powerful energy. And I had this whole transmission, this download, and I was like, I didn't really know what happened. I actually got a little bit scared for a minute there. It was such a big deal, and I felt it so intensely, more than I've felt other things. And then I went on with my experience, and like I started like playing with the Reiki symbols, and these symbols that I had channeled actually, because Reiki has set symbols, but also you can receive additional symbols. And I had these symbols, and here I'll show y'all one of them. One of them looks like this. Y'all see this flower?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had that one, and then there are two others. And I was like starting to understand what they meant, but during this experience, after I received that sacral chakra transmission, I became aware that my symbols that I had channeled were the frequency of harmonic creativity, and started to understand what that concept means at the level of the individual, but also that it means the same exact thing for others, for the world, for the universe. And like it really, to create from a space, from the frequency of harmony, from the frequency of peace, of love, as human beings in individual lives, you know, with very simple lifestyle choices, we change everything. We change everything. Like that orders everything beautifully. So this work we get as human beings really, really matters a lot. And this opportunity we get to create harmony in our own lives and our own relationships and our own lifestyles, and starting to see that our life, our beingness is an active creative process as well. Like that is a very empowering space to be in. And that, tapping in and in physically embodying and having that intention and that anchor point of harmony, of love, of peace, of compassion, then we're able to create a life from that space, create art from that space, create relationships from that space, create in our work with that from that space. And like that ripples out far and wide. And it is, I think you mentioned this at the beginning when you were talking about harmonic creativity or intention, that it's like alignment with nature. It's like becoming aware of how to align with nature, like plants, the earth, but also your true nature within. Observing that within yourself. What is my true nature? Starting to question that, work with that in whatever ways make sense for you. And also starting to observe that in the outer world. And how can we internalize these nature just is harmonic, it's doing its thing. Like they're beautiful. Like they know what to do, they do it regardless. There's no thought of, oh, I'm too ugly, like I'm a flower, I'm not gonna bloom, right? It's just, it blooms, it's beautiful. That's its purpose. It just does its thing. So starting to observe nature and internalize those lessons and bloom yourself, grow yourself from that space. So that's kind of how it's been unfolding for me. And it's like a very, very profound concept. Tina, again, it's like, just like gave birth to this planted this seed in me that, yeah, it's really, really powerful. Yeah, I see we're getting a lot of
Well,
comments.
what I love about what you said was
Yeah.
just how we can want something and it can seem so small within our own realm of like what I'm creating in life, like just here and now, or a project or whatever, or something within, but it's so whatever thing we focus on and amplifies and reaches out and ripples out, and it's taking the whole unity consciousness and ripple effect that ripples out into everything, and it's not separate. It's not I'm going to do this and then I'm separate from all of life or being. It's a way of, it's just one seed of intention that can have galactic effects.
Yeah.
And it can go, even to the smallest, tiniest cellular level effect to the, as within, so without. And I thought that was just a beautiful reminder of like how embodying just one little intention can be so big. It's not so little, and it's just, one thing I love hearing from you about is also the fact that like it's the simple things that we can anchor on that have the most profound effect, that are overlooked, like just the simple anchor point or intention of gratitude, the simple anchor point of presence, the simple anchor point of love or breath or simplicity, as Jonah says, or something that's a quality of being or a way of being in life, and then how it can be so big. It's so big and it's so overlooked. I don't want to like blanket statement anything, but a lot of times people can focus on the result only, but we forget the process and the way and the coming to it. And it's, this is a holistic thing, and we need to refocus and come back to that, I think. So why does this have to do with a raw vegan lifestyle? Why are we even talking about this on like in like a conversation about the raw vegan life. Like, what do you, now that we've kind of like delved into this huge topic,
It is.
how
It's
does
so
this
deep.
intention ripple into the specific niche of a raw vegan lifestyle?
Well,
I mean, you were
yeah,
touching upon true nature and
yeah,
like
yeah,
all of that.
yeah. Well, for me, it's like my true nature is a raw vegan. You know, that's something I discovered about myself, right? I wasn't born into a vegan family or a raw family. I grew up eating, all kinds of foods. My mom is an incredible cook. I was blessed with lots of home cooked meals. I was blessed with lots of fresh fruits and vegetables too. And I remember I was always like binging on the berries in the fridge. Like, the little pint. I was like, give me more. Like that's like I can eat that in two
Yeah.
seconds, right? Always loving the fruit. And for me, I really started investigating my true nature at age 22 in 2012, when the world was supposed to end. I was really investigating my true nature. I guess a couple years prior, it was like starting, but then after that, it was like really, really intense. And that's been my whole journey the past, it's like almost 10 years now. What is my true nature? What does that mean? How do I feed myself? How do I exercise? How do I navigate the world? What's my life purpose? What's the meaning of life? How do I want to live? Am I a nomad? Am I someone who like lives in a spot and like creates beautiful land, like Tina, a beautiful homestead? Like, who am I? Why am I here? What am I doing? Right? And and so one of the things that came through is like raw vegan. Like, that is my truth. That's my true nature. That allows me to be the best that I can be. That allows me to show up in my life. That allows me to be healthy and vibrant and confident. That allows me to embody compassion too, because I'm an animal lover. That's very important to me, not to be eating animals and like contributing to suffering of other beings, any other beings, right? Compassion is super important. I think compassion is like a very strong point of harmonic creativity. Y'all, I have so many notes. Okay, I get very excited and very nerdy. All right, this is who I am. True nature. All right. And I wrote all these ideas and stuff, and then I was like, what I do? I have it, yeah, compassion equals harmonic creativity. That could be another way to even be thinking about it. So that's another way the vegan part of the raw vegan really plugs in to this frequency, is because, a vegan lifestyle is compassionate to animals. We learn about how it gives a lesser impact, a negative impact on the environment. Spiritually, it's compassionate. You're not creating additional karma by killing animals or, torturing them and all of that. It's compassionate to oneself if you're practicing veganism in a healthy, whole food, plant-based way, like free of any kind of eating disordered, restrictive mentality. And it's very compassionate if you're able to, in my experience, adopt a raw vegan lifestyle that is truly sourced from a space of compassion, of harmony, like alignment with nature, not overly restrictive, not overly like just, oh, it's raw, whatever, like finding the raw vegan your way. That's been my path, at least. It's like I've learned a lot of different like right ways, but like at the end of the day, I need to find the raw vegan path that is like Tay's way, TayTay Raw's way. So I think the raw vegan lifestyle and like coming into how to like live and embody that in a compassionate way. You're doing good for the animals, for the environment, for the spirit, for your health, but like really, yeah, and being compassionate in that process too, right? One of the great things Tina dropped down wisdom was, being the shift from, results oriented focus to process oriented focus, and applying that compassion frequency of the harmonic creativity to your raw vegan process, because that can be really difficult, right? It can be a hard lifestyle to adopt. It's not like culturally supported, socially supported. It's even called an eating disorder. Like I was in grad school, they were like, "It's orthorexia." Yo, Taylor, you have an eating disorder? I was like, I do. Like, but I was relating to it in an unhealthy way. Okay, so you can manifest this in an unhealthy way, but you can also manifest it in a very compassionate way. And yeah, I think that's how it ties in, is like really having that like compassion anchor point truly, for the practice and expression and process of a raw vegan lifestyle. Because it's a dynamic lifestyle, it's changing. We're changing, like we're living in a changing, nature is changing all the time. We have seasons or cycles. We have this illusion of time. Like we're changing constantly. At a cellular, Tina mentioned the fractal, within as without, so above as below. Our cells are constantly changing, regenerating tissues, blood, all of these things. So like understanding this is dynamic. We're dynamic. It's a process. Yeah. How does this? Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I wanted to hop in and like add on to what you were sharing about. And
Please.
I feel like last night I was writing part of my story that I'm working on, and I was actually surprised about some of the things that were actual turning points for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it really, without naming what the actual thing was, I really, or maybe I will, but what made me kind of have this aha moment about this whole concept of harmonic creativity and like wanting to embody a harmonic lifestyle, a raw vegan diet as much as I could, anchoring it in. One of the deterrents was that I was actually I was avoidant of the shadow, and I was avoidant of actually the lowest rung of the emotional spectrum, which was shame. And there were things that happened in my life that had pushed me to coping mechanisms.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't have the tools at the time, or I didn't know how to hold space for myself at the time. And it really put me off on a non-harmonic creation of living. And so the turning point for me in all of that was actually choosing to accept myself wholly, like my whole self. And this is not just meaning mind, body, heart, spirit. It also meant the whole spectrum of light and shadow. And I had this huge kind of like dark night of the soul where I hit my rock bottom, and I had to tell myself I needed to choose change, and I needed to choose stop letting shame run the show, and by doing that, it was actually through acceptance, and it was through saying I accept myself fully. And in that I meant I accept the shame. I accept the part of me that wants to hide. I accept the parts of me that I judge. And only through doing shadow work, which means accepting and putting light on the things I wanted to avoid about myself, the parts of me that I was judging, the parts that didn't fit into the label and ideal, the perfect ideal of harmonic creativity, the parts that weren't, I thought, light. I actually could start flipping this script and name the things that shame didn't want me to name, vocalizing it, putting it to light, sharing it with friends, kind of like coming out of the closet of my shame hole. And from there I could start building up. But it wasn't until I hit that really deep onion layer. Like I had done so much work, and I had lived the lifestyle super high, raw, all raw for years. And then I hit this point where I just dropped, and I couldn't maintain my raw vegan lifestyle at the time because I didn't have the other aspects of holistic nourishment, which were holding space for my emotions of grief, of abandonment, of sorrow, of shame, of you know, and then because I had fallen into this coping mechanism, and I started just like giving up on caring about health, caring about the light, caring about harmonic creativity and love, and like all the quote unquote light things.
Yeah.
Like I just couldn't care because it was so painful to care when others didn't, and I had felt I was abandoned. So I wanted to share this aspect because like it just kind of popped up in my mind about like to create harmonically also means accepting all of it, I think, and like accepting the fact that everything is quote unquote perfectly imperfect. Like we will
Yes.
have the whole spectrum of emotions. We all experience shame, jealousy, fear, depression, or sadness, and I think shame is actually on the lowest rung of emotion, and it's the hardest one to overcome because its actual nature is to hide. And
Yes.
get addicted to the hiding and avoiding people or avoiding contact or avoiding this aspect of yourself. It just amplifies and grows and actually totally disconnected me from any peace and love that I could feel inside. And so I think part of my raw vegan journey is to learn how to accept myself in all my non-idealistic areas and stop judging the wholeness of who and what I am as a human being. And in that, then I'm able to actually maintain something that feels loving, you know, and then embody the practices, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
But that really
frequency of
came on strong
acceptance.
for me, and I was so shocked that that was like a turning point for me because it was like a memory I had really stashed at the back of my history of the raw vegan, holistic raw vegan lifestyle. Was like, what was that turning point that I was actually able to live a whole year with, you know, not eating cooked, or you know, maintain this high vitality level or high loving space. And it's funny, and you know, talking about the amplification of harmonic creativity and how it can go so big, so can these tiny little nuggets of that hold us back. And like this tiny little instance of feeling abandoned from a partner, and someone I loved also had abandoned me at the same time, and I just felt complete rejection and just shattered my capacity to care at the time. And it just rippled out, and the more I got stuck in that, it was like the bigger it became, and the more I judged it, because I knew what health felt like, I knew what vitality felt like, I knew the tools that made me feel good, but I wasn't accessing them because of my mindset. Yeah, so I just wanted to share that part. I feel like a big part of this whole harmonic creative raw vegan embodiment is you talk about compassion for the animals with the vegan lifestyle, but also with the raw vegan lifestyle. I feel like there's this huge spotlight that turns inward, and the self-love and the self-compassion, and really fine-tuning our tools and capacity to like hold space for a higher energy. I think you might have a lot to share about that, because you know, even with Reiki or with different things that you've experienced too. I'd love to hear about your experiences holding a higher vibration, and the things that have helped you cultivate and maintain that harmonic creativity vibration within it.
Yeah. Well, I just want to like applaud you for, in your investigation of your book, like detect, like that's some deep detective work to even like see the shame, like, and understand how that played out. Because as you said, like shame's nature, the nature of shame is to hide, is to be hidden, and to be like the deepest, lowest, most secretive, like shadow of the shadow within the shadow within the shadow, like, oh, you can't find me kind of a thing, or and like can't deal with me or bring me to the light. So when you were sharing all that, I was like, dude, me too. Like definitely big deal for me. Definitely huge. From the point of my spiritual awakening really, you know, rocket shipping off. The past like 9 years is the shame, and I can definitely resonate with having a period where I had stabilized the lifestyle, and then I had to like completely push it away, um, to sit with my emotions, all my emotions, and like let everything come up. And um, yeah, like there was some kind of situation where I needed to just not be raw for that time and like be vegan, a whatever vegan, and I even tried animal products a few times. Because I wasn't sure. I was like, what is my true nature? Like, let's strip it down. Like, I had a whole, like, ego death kind of experience for a while. This is when I was at a monastery. You know, it, like, supports that, facilitates that. And I got to, like, build myself back bit by bit after that experience. Because I realized, I was like, no, like, I'm not on board with this ego death thing. Like, this isn't my path this lifetime. Like, I've done that before. So, I think shame is huge. Don't avoid shame. I love what you're sharing, Tina, about the acceptance, because yeah, that's not a word that like came through for me, but it's definitely a part of this. Like, it's definitely, yeah, like a space holding and true acceptance and openness, and like realizing we have the capacity, we have this space to like, accept doesn't mean like you like it or you want it or you want to cultivate it or anything. It just means like, oh yeah, like it's kind of like I see you, like I recognize you, you're there, you're present, okay.
Yeah,
And
like
it,
equanimity. Like loving
yeah,
equanimity, yeah.
yeah, and like loving yourself enough to like to do that work and like understand if you have the shame, like if you even have the hatred, you know, self-hatred, you know, disgust, anger, all of these, grief, abandonment, like it's okay. This is part of like the human pain body. You know, these are part of the things like I think we come here to heal and like shine the light of awareness on. So you know, don't cheat yourself out of the experience of excuse me, doing the shadow work and exploring these bits of yourself and bringing light, because so much more healing can happen, you know, by going there. And it's like, you know, we create more acceptance for others too, because it's like we're here talking about shame, and it's like y'all have probably felt shame, and like that's okay. That doesn't mean like shame wants you to believe like you are bad, you are wrong, right? And like, oh shoot, no one else feels this way, right? Like it's just you and you're wrong for it. So like hate yourself about it and like don't ever
Or
talk about it.
hide it, yeah.
Hide it, yeah, like make yourself really small and like yeah, don't share, don't let anyone see, right? But that's it's like no, it's one of the spectrum of emotions. And yeah, I mean, for me, the tool I work with the most to like deal with all this is Reiki. Like it's been I've worked with a lot of tools. I love journaling too. I really love journaling. I love writing. Um, I love meditation. I love yoga, but really it's like awareness, like all the time. Practicing aware, you know, not just sitting on your meditation cushion for 35 minutes and having like the perfect quiet mind and then getting up and you're like treating yourself like crap and like treating other people like crap, like not being aware, right? It's like you can like not do the sitting practice for all I care. Just like be aware and be kind to yourself, you know, in the outside. But yeah, I really enjoy meditation, but for me it's like Reiki makes this like so easy, so fun. It's made shadow work fun. I mean, like who says that? I do. It's made it so that I'm seeing the value of it. I'm enjoying the process, and it's supporting my process, you know, with this, making it a whole lot easier, because I think so much of I I did like a list of, you know, what is harmonic, what is disharmonic, and I added to that list, Tina, you mentioned separation and judgment. right? As like the disharmonic, like the opposite.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think the harmonic is really this, I think it's on a different page, but I put like resonant, radical alignment, interdependent, connected, flow, unity. You know, you already mentioned unity consciousness, unification consciousness. This is a specific frequency of Reiki. Oneness, right? We all know like the oneness thing, but like really oneness, merging, let go, loosen, surrender, right? Loosen. Like how can you loosen your grip a little bit on any of this stuff, you know, and like hold it and hold enough so that it doesn't fall out, but not so tight that, you know, you're causing pain and you break whatever it is inside, right?
Can you share an example of like a specific personal experience within your RawVegan lifestyle where that's popping out to you, like the first thing that comes to your mind when I say that? Like what's in a personal experience where you were playing with these intentions and tools that you were just naming?
Yeah. Well, like how to like do raw vegan in a healthy balance, like completely liberated from any kind of eating disorder or body like obsession, weirdness, food obsession, any of that. Like doing it really like clean, like super clean. And I don't mean like not using spices clean. I mean clean in like a pure way where it's not hateful at all. It's not judgmental at all. It's not dogmatic. Like it's not abusive. You know, it's truly, you know, raw vegan in like a balanced, loving, compassionate, liberating, expansive way. And really like using Reiki to continuously check back in. I'm sorry about all the background noise here. I don't know what they're doing. They're like building something.
Okay, we can hear you. Good.
Yeah, good. I got the headphones. But yeah, so using Reiki together with journaling as awareness practices and noticing, okay, let's say I have a thought that's like, oh my God, like I need to be adding greens to the smoothie even though I don't want to, right? But like I'm supposed to. I'll use the mental emotional symbol. That's a specific symbol in Reiki. Y'all, it helps so much. It's like everybody needs to be using that one because people are nuts, right? Like they're nuts. I've realized I'm nuts, and you know this is very common, right? We live in a very insane world. To look outside in the world and try and like, oh, that's what sanity is. It's like backwards. Like everything else is insane, but we can become more sane, right? So yeah, in that moment of recognizing that I'm having like a disordered thought, it's a negative thought, a judgmental thought, a disharmonic thought, I'm able to just rise to a higher frequency where I'm like, I own my truth, right? I own my truth. No, I just want bananas and cacao and date and coconut water. And it's going to taste really good. I'm going to put cacao nibs on top. And no, that's not perfect food combining. No, there aren't any greens in it. But yeah, that's what I want for lunch. Right? That's what I want for lunch. I'll have my greens later. Right? Yeah, I mean, it can really be that simple, and allowing myself more freedom and more fluidity within the lifestyle, while also trusting myself too, because I've done a lot of education. I know the stuff, right? But doing it in a way that it's truly sustainable for me. It's truly healthy. It's not overly perfectionistic. It's not overly idealistic. It's realistic. It's workable. It's enjoyable. You know, it's like, oh, I enjoy my life. And it doesn't separate me from others. It connects me more to others, and it allows me to shine in my unique way. Why I'm here, and it's perfectly imperfect. You know, it's really perfectly imperfect. You know, I think that's very important because I'm healing a lot of perfectionism too, and I think that's that's come up in the raw vegan lifestyle. I think a lot of us who find a raw vegan path, it's like we're perfectionists. We want purity. We want perfection. We want perfect body. We want perfect health. We want to look perfect. We want to do it perfect. We want to have all the parts of it be perfect. It's like not gonna happen, you know.
Well, I feel like everyone's different, and everyone has their take, and everyone comes from it from a different angle. Like some people can have a perfectionist background, some people don't.
Yeah. Good point.
But I
Thank you,
wanted to share like that. The story that you just shared is like a perfect, like for me, it's a great example of showing how like presence is so important for creating harmonically, because we need to, and I need to know myself. I need to know where I'm coming from, what my patterns are, where I am on like the edge of something, or like the quality spectrum of something. So if I'm coming from maybe an attached, tight, constrictive, perfectionistic, formulaic, left brain side, then sometimes the balancing act of creating harmonically is to allow the ease in, to allow the play, and not always the plan. And this is where it's really important, I think, for someone to know themselves and be honest with themselves and be present with what's going on. So it's like, I just feel like for me, I guess an example could be like with the raw vegan lifestyle, let's say, okay, so I never had a food plan when I started. I didn't even know what calories were. I didn't know about fat content. I thought all of that was super left brain, and I only wanted the like right brain stuff. So I was like super intuitive eating, like just eating whatever like I thought, like I had made my own kind of like planish thing, but like that's the way I was flowing. So the way for me to embody health actually was to learn calories and counting them, so I could get a grasp on what a healthy adequate amount of fat was for me, because actually eating too much fat made my virus come back. So I was like more lax in the mental space, and I needed a little bit more structure, you know. And then, you know, another example is like I got super minimalist on my lifestyle, and I was just eating the same things over and over again, which is fine if that's what's serving you. But I got to a point where I was living out of a van, didn't even have a fridge, so I wasn't making I didn't have banana and ice cream. I wasn't like making elaborate recipes. Sometimes I would get stuff at festivals. So I got to this point of just feeling very bored with my diet, and like wanting to bring in some luxurious elaborateness, or like learn new recipes, like bring in more things maybe I normally wasn't using, like different spices and seaweed things, and like add some more variety, and maybe more amounts of ingredients than I normally was using or something. So it's like, I guess what I want to share, and I think is really important about having peace, is there are so many raw vegan gurus, and there's so many teachers, and there's so many mentors, and there's so many ways to do this lifestyle, and some of them maybe are good long term, and some of them may create disease long term, so you have to also be watching out for that. But I think in my experience, none of them. And what I want to share is that I needed to know myself to know when to tweak it. Like, so, if I want to be more simple and mono milling, and like, 4 ingredient salad, or if I want to be more elaborate, and someone may say, no, you're doing it wrong. You're not pure, you're not doing it this way, or this is not the right way. But know what? Like, ultimately, it's really important to tap into our truth, like you're talking about, and be authentic. And like right now for you, adding in cacao nibs, and not always being so like type A about like having to have the greens every smoothie. Like that's healing for you, because you did have a period where you were doing it a very long time where you're very structured and following it to the T. And so it's like this, it's like yoga, it's like there's this edge, and we need to check in, we need presence. And it's not like I found this diet, I'm a eating raw vegan, I'm doing it the 80-10-10 way, I'm doing it the Tanny Raw way, I'm doing it the free way, I'm doing it whoever, without naming names, but like there's so many different ways without doing it my way.
It's true.
I'm gonna be teaching it one day, and I'm gonna tell my people, hey, this is one way, and you're going to find your way, and actually it's going to constantly evolve. And so I think just releasing the idea that it's only one way, that it's a formula that will always work. It's like it's constantly evolving, so we need the presence. We need tuning in, and we need check-ins, sporadic check-ins along, weekly, daily, monthly, yearly. And that I think is super important for creating like a peace inside. Otherwise it just gets bottled up, and I'm just living from my mind what I think should be happening instead of what is really needed.
And here in the heart.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that you shared from the opposite perspective, because I want to also share, like, I've needed both ways. Like I'm like an extreme personality, addictive personality, whatever. All or none. These qualities come through in me sometimes. So I'll go all the way one direction, all the way strict, rigid, and then I'll go all the way loosey goosey. And for me, it's been just to find like this kind of thing, right? And Tina, always, one of the genius things you're always sharing about is cycles too, and like recognizing cycles where I'll have times, I'm noticing right now, where I am more rigid, but it's coming from a space of that's what's needed. Like I'm doing a lot of deep spiritual work. Maybe I'm eating less. I'm doing more liquids. I'm doing some brief fasting, right? From the outside, it looks like, much cleaner, much more pure. And then there are these cycles after a period like that where it's more like rebuilding. I need to loosen a bit more. I need to eat a bit more and allow myself more freedom. And then when it's like, okay, I'm starting to notice maybe I don't feel my best. Okay, it's time to maybe let's add the greens to the smoothie. Let's go a little bit more dialed in, a little bit more formulaic, and then we're getting too tight over here. Go have a durian cacao raw vegan pie from Sweet King Cafe, and just like and do that dance, and having that awareness, those check-ins with moment by moment, daily, weekly, yearly, also in recognizing the cycles too. And just because you're being more strict for a time, like, maybe that cycle is needed. Maybe you're healing something, right? That's like really serious and needs that rigidity, or you have a very specific goal, like weight loss, get it off, right? Release it. And, being more structured is useful. It's what serves versus, more of a maintenance dance, which is what I'm doing. But I'm going to be realistic still and get my annual lab work. What's going on? Like, do I need supplements? Where do I need to tweak myself?
I like that word tweaking. So it's like, we're like, I heard airplanes like don't just go straight. They have their destination, and then they check, and they keep kind of packing and tweaking their trajectory. So they're not going in a straight line. And I feel like that's kind of what, like, instead of them going like wah wah wah, which we may do in the beginning, it's a learning curve, right? Like just kind of try to keep tapping in and tacking in and going ding ding ding, and like try to fine tune those tweaks, and maybe you can catch yourself earlier and I feel like also with the self-awareness and like experience, like we just get to know what works and what are the signs when we're a little bit off. Like maybe at first I don't even know, and I'm like way off. Like in the beginning when I got my virus, I was like, cancer is the last rung of the disease, 7 stages of disease. I mean, it's the last rung. And like now I know, if I'm getting like weird skin things, or like that's irritation, that might be like stage 2 or 3 or phase whatever of the 7 stages. So it's like now I know, like, oh, my awareness is here and I'm watching my body more. I can see it, like, or I got a kinker sore. I'm like, okay, to me, that's my major red flag. If I get a kinker sore, like, okay, something's off. Like, I need to tweak my diet, my lifestyle, like sleep, water, whatever it is, or stress from external factors. And it's like, so I love your tweaking and fine tuning, and like, and it's an exploration, you know, like you said, we're not, you know, this whole perfectionist thing. It's nice to have a goal and you know, a plan and something, but we can also be flexible with our plans so that we're actually seeing, is it working for the reality we want to create?
And is it being practiced in like a harmonic way too? Is it being practiced in a loving, acceptance, compassionate way? When you were talking, I love that you brought up the airplane, like course correcting. I love that's a great metaphor. And when you were showing it, what I saw, it's like harmonic, the music, the metronome. And also, as we just keep talking about this, I'm seeing it's like a dance. It's a dance. It's a co-creative process. You know, you're creating this music with your life. You're creating this dance. And as we grow in awareness, I love what you're saying about noticing, you know, something like the extreme result back in the day would be like, oh my God, I find myself and I'm, you know, 50 pounds heavier, or like I'm getting a Hashimoto's thyroiditis diagnosis, right? Things have gotten out of hand. Versus now it's like, oh, like my bowel movements like weren't perfect, or I have a pimple here, like I must be detoxing, right? Noticing these smaller things more in the moment. It's like, oh, my dance step, I need to change a little bit here. You know, maybe I need to like go this way and like, you know, change the song even. Like we might need to go a little faster or something, right? Faster, slower. So
and even to make some of the, even to even see that we need a course correct, sometimes we need a mirror, like a person like you in my life, or like you know, mentor or guide or whatever. And this is not like a coaching advertisement right now, but I mean, like, I've worked with coaches and like they've helped me really like see things I didn't even know were there, you know, and work with tools I didn't know yet. And they've been on the path, and they were like, they could show me things they've already experienced, and it made my evolution just smoother, you know. But I feel like that's another way of gaining that self-awareness, you know. Like it can be internally and through your meditation, through self-observance, like presence, and then also it can be external through factors. But I love what you said about something about you said something earlier just now about like obviously harmonic creativity, but like remembering the factor that there are things outside of our control, that we have a spirit, that there's something bigger than us, whether, you know, however you want to name that, you can name it the way you want, whether it's or some deity's name or whatever. But that's something to work with. Like if we're creating, it's actually co-creating, and I think that's the harmonic part of it. It's like, how can I like align and work with what is, with the things I can control, and there's definitely things outside of me that I cannot control. And so like, how can I work with all that is in a way that is the, you know, the win-win, the like, you know, like I feel like all these, you know, the terms that we all use, but it's, these aren't just like, these are concrete terms that are that affect reality, and they're like real. Just playing with the concept and like really practicing it, and it is a practice, and you know, and it's a humbling practice too. Like we get knocked down, we get back up. Sometimes it works awesome, like, and we're totally aligned, and we see all the signs and synchronicity, and it's working, you know. And like you manifest the thing you were like visualizing or wanting to call in, and then like sometimes it's not working, and that's an awesome opportunity to like choose to look again at what's going on, like what's not working, what can I tweak again, what can I work with it. So,
and having these tastes of like what it's like to be harmonic, right? Starting to like recognize it so that you know when you're not, and you can like and you have the tools like we keep talking about to get yourself back in that more harmonic, more like flow space. That's been a word that comes up for me with thinking about what harmonic means, is like flow. And I love what you mentioned too about the divine or the creator too. It's like yeah, okay, here I got a definition for us, y'all. Harmonic creativity: to resonate at the same frequency as nature and creation. So you can think about this as God or source or the cosmos or great spirit, or you can literally just think of it as nature and evolution. Doesn't matter, same thing. Okay. To harmonic creativity: to create, give form to ideas, so bring them into the 3D. To create, give form to ideas that are sourced from love, harmony, and peace, and compassion. I would add that. But yeah, I think to be harmonic is to be in radical alignment with nature, and nature's not perfect, right? Ever been to a store and bought an ugly fruit? Okay. It's not perfect, and that is perfect. Like, its imperfection is perfection. It's
So
how it's supposed to be.
I have a question for you, TayTay.
Yeah.
Going along with that, like, how do you personally recognize that you are in that flow space? Like, what are the signs to you that mean, like, hey, I'm on my right path, like, I'm synchronizing with all that is? Like, what to you are some little signs, or what are the signposts that show you you're in that?
That I'm in the flow. Things are moving easy. Things are smooth. I'm feeling happy. I'm feeling aligned. I feel like myself. I feel connected to my true nature. I feel joyful, peaceful, excited. I know my true nature, so it's just like, oh yeah, this is Tay being Tay. I'm in the flow. The activities are going. The universe is mirroring to me externally the internal peace and love and harmony and everything that I'm cultivating within, right? It's like, oh, like, people are being nice to me. Situations are going, more easily, more effortlessly. Like, things that could be difficult or seem to just not be quite as challenging. And then it's like, ooh, we're out of the flow. Like, I bump my elbow. I'm not present. I go to a place that I was unsure, like, do I go or not? And I went anyway, and I have kind of an experience that's like a little off, or, it becomes more like a feeling. It's just like, whoa, it's like a little off. I'm off center. I'm off kilter. The frequency of my thoughts is lower. I'm feeling more dense. I'm feeling like things are difficult and challenging and resistant. Like, I'm going against a current, right? Like, physically, it'll feel like I'm going kind of against a current.
Like tension, yeah.
Yeah, like tension, like it's more stressful, like things are just, and this is not to say, oh, don't ever do anything that's difficult again or challenging. Yeah. Like, not at all. It's like, use your tools and like be in that space of like, I got this, confident, I'm going to take care of this. And then, engage in that challenge. Okay. Challenges then become like fun and exciting. All right. Not a thing to avoid.
Yeah, going along with that, like the whole idea of harmonically creating within a challenge context. You may not be like, hey, this is exciting. Like, I'm so happy. But you also could be harmonically creating. What kind of signs do you feel then when you're like maybe in a negative scenario or environment, but you actually are harmonically creating within it? What do you feel then?
I think like understanding timing there too. If it's like a real challenging thing, like, don't try to do it right now because you want to get it over with. Like, that might not be the harmonic moment to do the thing in, even though it's the one logical left brain deadline, whatever. Sometimes I understand, like, you got to do the deadline, right? But like,
about timing.
But sometimes it's like timing. It's like, if I have the flexibility, it'll be a whole lot easier. It's not It's not breaking any agreements or anything for me to do this thing later. I can let go of that tightness of like, I got to do it right now just because I want it done, now. Like it's weighing on me. Waiting for that time and understanding like, hey, yeah, that thing's not done. It's still on the to-do list, but I got it figured out, like where exactly I'm going to plug that in. And it fits. It fits in with, I'm not breaking laws. I'm not like, there's no like resistance there. It's not
Universal.
bad. Yeah, I can't, universal or any kind of law, right? It's like, okay. So recognizing the timing and recognizing when, I think the biggest thing is with these challenges is like, when am I going at it in a purely like masculine space of like forcing it versus like this more like flowing, softer, feminine space of like how can I just like receive it, and work with it, work within it, work within the challenge.
Yeah.
And when I'm in that space, it's like the challenge. Oh, whoa. Okay. This is putty. This is moldable. The challenge can be reformed, the same energy, into a solution, often into a teaching, into this this opportunity for healing, and into an opportunity for growth, for expansion, of greater awareness, of inspiration, of connection, of more harmony. It's like, because everything, friends, is just energy.
And you can test all this out. I mean, like, test out your sense of right timing, test out your beliefs or intentions that you're creating while you're doing something, and see if the aftermath is harmonic. Like, if you create more chaos that feels super unloving and disturbing, that wasn't the right way to do it. And then on the opposite end, I like to test out my intuitive, because we're talking about right timing. That really sparked a lot for me, like that that knowingness of acting on your intuition, acting on the right feeling, and that good, peace feeling, and knowingness, even feeling, like knowing when to act. And you can sense, like, did I create more harmony around me? Did did it create it in me and around me? Like, did it affect the surrounding like that? That was right timing is huge.
It's big.
And I think within challenges, like the whole mindset approach of like, you can be in the flow and maybe in a hospital setting, like doing surgery on people in a very stressful situation, but if you're in your flow and you're like totally harmonically working with everything and healing the situation, you can, I feel like that, I think it's really gauged by feeling, like it's in harmony means peaceful. It's like a peaceful feeling inside, and it can show up like as these other expressions, like you said also excitement or childlike perception, or glee, or
know yourself,
that light up light aspects, but also within like maybe these harder situations, it's like a even keeled love, like present
equanimity. Equanimity. You always say that word. I love that.
Really holding it as is without judging, without holding on, but also like just letting it be in flow through.
Can you talk about your flow experiences? Because I know like flow is a word that, I mean, I'm thinking about your athletic background too, that you've definitely experienced being in flow and not being in flow. How do you recognize that in yourself and in your life, now and or in the past?
That's a good question, and it kind of reminds me that to get in the flow, I definitely needed to warm up. And I noticed that last night with writing. Like, there's always this kind of like warm up period to starting something, and then what's that switch to the flow? And I feel like the flow is definitely presence and awareness. That's like a huge quality of it. You're not distracted. You're focused on, like, when I'm in the flow, I'm focused. My attention is focused on what serves the moment. I have a trajectory or like a direction or north star, a goal, but I'm not so attached to it that it constricts me in my living right now. You know, so like if I want to win a match, I can't just focus on the match the whole time. I also have to focus on the game, the point, the actual running to the ball, the actual stroke, the actual movement it takes to hit that one moment instance, and just keep going without being futuristic worrying and without past regret or attachment to judgment of what happened. And so it takes time, I think, also. Like I think you could spontaneously jump into it with the right surrender and qualities of awareness, but at the same time, I think realistically, more often than not, it's like you warm up and it takes some time and to get into flow. And I think the non-attachment, the non-judging, you know, so that goes into acceptance, that goes into equanimity, that goes into gratitude, that goes into you know, holding something as is without grasping too hard.
Yes.
So I feel like all those could pertain to anything, whether it's sports or writing or even doing a video with you or sharing about a conversation. Like, you know, I could be here sitting and not flowing with you and you know, this happened to me once, like where I was having a conversation with someone, I really wanted the energy to be different. And I was attached to how I thought it should be. Once I just let that go and I showed up with the intention of presence, it flowed better. You know, like, okay, I'm just going to be how it serves now, not how I want it to be. So like getting out of our desire, and this is totally pertainable to the whole RawVegan lifestyle too. Like, I think I should be this RawVegan who looks like this, and it's great to have goals and things, but it's also that edge, and it's you know, I forget, just saying that I lost my point there. But,
I love it. I love it so much. I love that you shared that about flow. I'm so glad I asked that question. I was like, Tina's tennis. She knows this. Like, because I used to compete in horseback riding. I knew when I was in my flow with my pony and my pony was in flow, and when we were not synced up, I was too in my head. You know, there were other variables out. So I think any kind of athletes can really get it. But I love the point you mentioned that, you can spontaneously drop in. Okay. Yes, I've definitely experienced that, where it's just like, it seemed spontaneous, but was it? Like, or was I already like sitting in meditation or something, or you know, held that intention? So, but I love what you said about, you mentioned the warm up, right? Like the physical athletic warm up. But what that warm up can be, like warm up for writing too, writing the book, warm up for a coaching session.
Doodle, you know?
Yeah, before actually doing the painting. Warm up before your day with a morning routine that is designed to cultivate flow. This can take so many different shapes and forms depending on the activity, right? I know.
About the sadhana,
warm up for your day, like whatever that looks like, right? Like, I have a routine where I start every day in flow because I have crafted a routine for myself that starts me out in that, and then I have tools to get me back into flow when I fall out, because y'all, again, the world is crazy. Like, we're dealing with challenges. You know, we're all dealing with certain shadow aspects, subconscious things, patterns, all this stuff. Okay, it's hard. We fall out. I fall out. Okay, like, I don't want to make it seem like I'm in flow all the time.
It's the fluctuation, you know.
And that's natural.
That's so we're natural. Constantly tweaking our you know. Adjust.
Yes.
What you're saying reminds me of the fact that society in general is not really set up to, like, I'm not talking about nature. Nature is set up. I'm talking about the man-made, constructed, like, cityscape lifestyle is not really set up to harness flow, and it's really take us out of our center, create voids with external things that, you know, like advertising pumping through signs, through TVs, through everything.
Yeah.
Why am I sharing that? Because it's like this huge structure,
Yep.
right, that distract us from our center and
Yep.
our thoughts. And so like going along with, you know, creating a sadhana in your morning practice, like the best times for me, and I don't want to be attached to this formula, but like in my experience, the best times for me are when I have my sadhana, my morning practice, and I'm anchoring my mind on prayer, mantra, things that nurture my spiritual connection, but also that nurture my mind, so that I can have thought conditioned into my own brain from what actually honors harmony and truth in life, how nature really works. And so it's like I realize, like, if my default programming is to go separation mode and like fear, choice making, and like choosing, you know, addictive foods and things to externally, you know, take me away from my divine connection to my higher self and my true nature, then I need to actually brainwash myself through my sadhana, and like I don't have to, I choose to, because I want to cultivate a thought process that actually aligns with nature. And so the best times in my life where I've really felt steady and anchored is when I'm repeating those thoughts, mantras, prayers, and I spend quality time nourishing my spiritual connection, nourishing my intuitive connection, nourishing my body connection, you know, through conscious movement and awareness, and holding space for the emotional spectrum that I am, and like choosing to tend to it with the equanimity and acceptance, and like adjusting through needs, like what would actually serve the harmony of the situation. And so it's like, I love that you just said that. It's so key. It's so key in a life where we can have so much distraction and conditioning that it's kind of like a beautiful job we can have and create for ourselves. And it's creativity to actually create your own sadhana. Like what beliefs have I noticed that actually create peace in my life, or honor life as it is, and like work with reality instead of against it, or work with myself and others, not against myself and others. Like, what are the thoughts and ideas that I can repeat over and over every day, every morning? So that, and what kind of environmental things am I living in that nurture it, you know? Hallelujah. Thank you, Taylor.
Tina, this is so good, y'all. This is it. This is how we change the world. This is how the new earth happens. Like, Tina, we need to teach a course on, the skill of flow. Because it's a skill. It can be cultivated. It can be taught. It can be practiced. It's how we change the world. Everything we do matters. I love what you said about brainwashing. You know, brainwashing gets a bad rap.
In a good way.
In a good way, right? If you think about the term brainwashing, it's like if you wash your mind of all this like external programming intentionally. This is what I've really been focusing on, y'all, like really since my Reiki master training, okay? Really since my Reiki master training about a year ago, is really stopping tuning into the external programs and being very selective about any kind of external input I'm putting in. Like certain things I need to learn about raw veganism, so I'll allow that input here. But if I don't need to learn about something, like, I'm not going to put that input in, right? And if it's someone talking about raw veganism, a topic that I'm interested in, how is it helping me connect to more love, or is it connecting me to more fear too? Because just because the topic matches doesn't necessarily mean it's good input. Okay, raw vegan, and it's connecting me to more love. All right, this is acceptable input. But also then it's like crafting and formulating my own brainwashing program where I'm programming my mind and my being very, very specifically and selectively. And it's like, whoa, y'all, like, whoa, yeah, creating my own sadhana, doing specific meditations, doing specific practices, learning about the times a day that are really good to go ahead and plug those in. And as a result, my inner voice has emerged so much stronger. Yeah, that connection to love,
Yeah,
that
Charity also had a
discernment.
point. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, practice.
About practice. Yeah, and
Yeah,
it's like not just once, it's the sadhana, like the
all the
consistent
time.
practice. So it's like the repetition is what really helps anchor. And it's also not just telling ourselves, but acting on it, like acting
Yeah.
on the new programming. So taking choices from the new programming,
Yes.
mind, the thoughts. And
Yes.
I just wanted to say, like, I didn't mean to name names earlier when I was talking about like different RawVegan people, and like I wasn't saying that in a negative way. It was more of like
Didn't feel negative
example
too.
of like there are different levels, and we're even our own formula that we create for ourselves will change. So it's like plugging in whatever works. So like even our sadhana will evolve. Even our practice will evolve, and that consistent check-in of like, okay, what I've got that idea down now. Like actually there's this area I don't feel as harmonic in. I need to plug in this new practice, this new idea, mantra, prayer, practice, and then practice that through action too throughout the day.
Yeah.
So,
there's no landing. The practice process is the joy. Fun. Noticing the joy in daily practice. Exactly. And that's when you've alchemized. You've done the divine alchemy. You've taken something that everybody else on earth, not everybody else, that's exaggeration. Tina keeps me in check with the exaggerations and blanket statements. Thank you, Tina. Most of society thinks, oh my God, raw vegan diet, it's so hard, you can't do it, blah, blah, blah. And then suddenly it's like when you've internalized it, you've reprogrammed yourself, you're practicing the diet and lifestyle, you're getting the results you want, you're feeling good, you're making new friends. It's like, oh my God, this is a joy. This is bringing so much joy into my life. Like, yeah, but the external reality would say, oh my God, that's so hard. And yeah, Tina, you wrote this so beautifully in a post recently about quality of life too. It's like this transmutation of this quality of life from thinking about quality of life as being like you can eat all the French fries and the McDonald's and whatever, and I'm having so much fun, I'm eating all this junk food, to like the flip of, no, my quality of life is feeling healthy and vibrant and vital and alive, and it's actually eating fruits and vegetables and like enjoying them and like liking to try different fruits and stuff, and like and feeling really good in my body and living a long, healthy, vibrant life, free of addiction.
And long term too.
Yes.
Also the thing of like, like we don't have to have so much pleasure, but then long term pain. Yeah.
And the short term pleasure will come. You will like really actually enjoy the apple. Will it hit your dopamine centers as much as the Big Mac? No, but in your sadhana, you can include things that do, and they're good for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it will in the future. once
but there are
shift and like you're aligning your thoughts with those, like you said, our body and our heart and our mind and what we truly want to cultivate. Like eating that apple is like this a reaffirmation of like I'm choosing life. I'm choosing to cultivate wellness and well-being and energy and harmony.
Yeah.
Harmony.
But also realizing a lot of the reason people turn to like those addictive foods or any addiction is like they're craving that connection, that high. And that high, it can be nourished and experienced and facilitated through like spiritual practices, often much better than like the food or the addiction or anything. Like the spiritual practice or process, and you pick, I'm not like, oh, you gotta do this one. there are in many different traditions, like practices that you can feel that bliss. You can feel like your whole brain light up and it's like, oh my God, everything is wonderful. And there's absolutely no food involved. But then practicing all of that spiritual practice makes it so that, yeah, you sit down for the smoothie bowl you made for yourself and it's like, oh, like every bite, you know, I'm like tapping into that bliss again, right? Because I'm practicing bliss, you know, I'm practicing those feelings in my spiritual practice. And then it can trickle into like feeling bliss when I'm doing my yoga practice, or feeling it when yeah, I eat the apple and I'm like, oh my God, this tree, what a special tree, you know, like thank you.
What you're saying is just like proving that that the raw vegan aspect of spiritual practice can be the spiritual practice, and I felt that. And okay, I'm gonna explain. Like,
please do.
Because you have this spiritual practice, right? Like whatever that is for you. Like you can do Kriya Yoga, you can do Reiki, you can do Vipassana, like whatever your faith or practice is. At the same time, a lot of those things are cultivating qualities. Qualities of being, like I said, equanimity, presence, awareness, you know, a bunch of truth, a lot of these things. So it's funny because I almost feel like the raw vegan lifestyle has become my spiritual practice in the sense that it's been an awakening of like, this is what aligns with my body. So I need and want to cultivate the practice of surrender to truth. So like by actually living a lifestyle, I'm practicing the spiritual quality of surrender, of equanimity, because I'm not being completely attached to the other diets. Although, yes, that is a consistent practice. And so all I want to share is that by choosing the raw vegan lifestyle, for me, it has been my yoga. Like to me, fasting and raw foods and juicing have been my yoga. It's my, because it's part of me and my, and I know I'm not my body, but the quality of surrender, the choice of surrender, the choice of like not being so attached and fighting, you know, by choosing that, it's cultivating those qualities that are for me part of my spiritual path. And they cultivate presence, awareness, they cultivate all these things that I need to strengthen in order even in order to live this lifestyle. But it's like what came before the chicken or the egg, like what came before the raw vegan or the spiritual practice. But like they're both kind of like just evolved and like nurture each other, and they nurture these qualities. And whether or not I'm embodying that 100% or not, like we said, it's the airplane tapping. It's for me a North Star. For me, it's a place I want to go to and be in and cultivate and nourish. And like you said, for me, it's my truth. And so, of course, it's a practice.
A practice that cultivates certain spiritual values that you have. And it's like, it's an embodiment thing too, because a lot of people who are just, you know, I talk about this a lot in certain areas, but like a lot of the spiritual people, like they're not focusing on the body, right? And a lot of like the really body, like diet, exercise focused people aren't focusing on the spirit, and like you're just not getting like the full spectrum, right? Like Tina's saying, like the raw vegan diet, the practice of it can be viewed and treated and related to in such a way that it's this conscious cultivation of certain qualities in your life that are reflections of the deeper values you have, you know, for love, presence, awareness, compassion, etc., equanimity, being in surrender, being in flow, like not being so attached, like to that addiction or high or anything, just being dropped in, and like enjoyment with what is, like peace with what is. I think that's beautiful.
And it's almost like choosing sobriety, because I think that
Yeah.
when you feel everything, like you can be aware because you're
Yes.
actually feeling. And like,
Yes.
you know, whether you're doing Reiki or meditation, you're also clearing away your psychic and your spiritual bodies. And, you know, through chanting or whatever your practice is, you are
Yeah.
also clearing that so you can be more aware and more embodied of like who you really are. Who am I really?
Yes.
And how do I know if I'm covering up my feelings
Yeah.
through everything?
Tina,
Wow, I didn't
I
know we
want
were
you
going
to
to go
know,
here. This is awesome.
whenever I'm looking down, I'm like, I'm writing what you're saying. I'm not just like, oh, like Taylor's idea. Like, I'm
Pass
writing it
me
down
the
because
notes.
that's how I learn. Is I
Yeah.
learn when I write things, like write them, you know, physically or type them. That really helps me like get it because I'm like physical kinesiological. I'm like all the learning styles.
And visual
Um,
too, right? Like
yeah,
for
visual.
me, I
Yeah,
need to write
definitely.
things down sometimes also
Yeah.
to like have it be absorbed.
When
Um,
you're talking about choosing sobriety, that is so potent, right? That raw vegan is like choosing a sober eating lifestyle, basically, you know? And if you also, it's like, why not also choose to like maybe not drink the alcohol or smoke the cigarette or, you know, do the other things maybe recreationally too. Like it is an opportunity, but any kind of form of sobriety, I think, from any of these addictive substances, food included, gives us, and this is where I wrote down, gives self best chance to be aware.
yeah, gives the best
It's your
chance.
best shot, you know? And like, again, like the world, the society will tell you, oh, it's hard, 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 hard. But like, really, y'all, it's like, it's your best chance. It's
Yeah.
your best chance to like wake up and be healthy and like do what you came here to do, you know, in your human life. Because I believe we all have special purpose.
And to
And
have compassion too for that human
yeah,
because
yeah,
like we don't want to go from 0 miles per hour to 100 in 1 second.
it doesn't
Like
happen.
with energy too that happens
Yeah,
in the body. And so like
yeah,
there's a learning curve to each stage and each little
yes.
gradation. And yeah, there, yes.
Because we are in the 3D. Like this is a physical world. It's dense. There's the illusion of time. There's all these factors. But yeah, choosing sobriety gives yourself the best chance to be aware. It gives yourself another thing you were saying was that maybe I like molded through this is conscious embodiment of true nature. You know, sobriety gives us the best shot to be a conscious embodiment of our true nature, like understanding what is that true nature and how do we consciously embody that in human form and like keep choosing it through our intention that we hold loosely but also, you know, have as a north star. And that intention informs like the actions, the thoughts, the words, the everything, the day to day, the practical, the nitty gritty, the specific things, having that intention and anchor. And suddenly it's like every day becomes this opportunity, this unfoldment of understanding what is the true nature and how can I consciously embody that as a human being, as me, as Taylor, as Tina, as Charity, as Natalia, as IO Store, as Ensemble, as anybody else who's on here that I'm not just seeing immediately in the chat. But yeah, how can we embody that? Who is that? You know, that
And I
divine
want to add to
discovery.
what you just shared that
Yeah,
some people could, you know, be the devil's advocate and say, well, my true nature is not my body. Like, I'm a
yeah,
soul, and
yeah,
this is all
yeah,
temporary. This is all illusion. This is
yeah.
all Maya. That,
Totally,
and, you know, there's truth in that. But at the same
totally.
time, we are traveling in this body.
Yes.
So, you know, this is our vehicle. And,
Mm.
and to be harmonic and harmonic with our environment and our surroundings with our mind, you know, like with our senses, with our being,
Mm-hmm.
like there's ways we can nurture
Mm.
this actual physical reality while
Yes.
waking up to also that realization of our, you know, if you believe in this, which I personally do, that, you know, I have a soul, and I, you know, that's the spark of me that leaves when my body disintegrates. So not everyone believes that, and
Yeah,
or
yeah,
people may differ in opinion about
yeah,
being attached to your body. But again, like, how can we play with this edge where we're not totally attached to our body in a constricting way,
yeah.
and harmonically play in life, serving love the best we can.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I feel like I'm feeling really happy about this
I
conversation.
love it. I
It
love
led
it
to
so
such a
much.
up down all around kind of
Like that. We're dancing.
dialogue.
We're all dancing. We're all
Yeah,
dancing.
I love what everybody added to, and
Yeah,
Cherry Ritz, wake up and rebel.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
brainwash yourself and create your life from that space of your freshly washed brain.
yes,
Yeah.
I like the twist on rephrasing it as like washing
Yeah.
your brain,
Yeah.
releasing the
It needs
toxins.
to be washed. Like it does. It really does. If you were born here on Earth.
And it's happening anyway, no
Yeah.
matter what. We're always conditioning ourselves. Every little action we take,
Yes.
I was going to add this earlier, is like
Yeah.
whatever we're doing, we're mastering. Whatever we're practicing at each moment, whether we're conscious of it or not, we're anchoring it into our body and reaffirming it and strengthening it.
Mm-hmm.
And this whole conversation is just a beautiful reminder for me, even to remember all of this stuff.
Yes.
And I'm really grateful we're even talking about it. And I think that just the fact that we're all here, conversing in a chat, talking together, it's this really cool opportunity to remember what serves love and practice all these kind of things and get together and mirror it back to each other and help each other, help each other harmonic create in life. Let's help each other. Instead of putting us down and judging each other, and it can be hard. We've been conditioned sometimes, but just try to bring each other up so that we can really bring our best forth and even hold that shadow, like we were talking about. Accept people are in pain. I'm in pain, and we all can be, tending to each other the best we can, and really love.
Yeah.
I mean, what else
I
is
love that. I love that you said that. Yeah, I think that's one of the byproducts of doing shadow work is understanding, like, oh my God, I've been through so much, and like, so has everybody else. And it can be easier to be kinder to oneself and kinder to other people, and understanding everyone's been through something. And
I'm trying to remember that, like, when someone's acting out towards me, my natural reflex is to like get mad or blame them or judge them, and I'm trying to train my brain, like, hey, this person's just in pain, or this person doesn't know, or whatever the situation. But remembering that they're in pain, it really helps me. And I want to reinforce that. So if you see me and you see me judging, tell me. Just remind me, like, let's work together and play. And I like that. We're all on the same team.
Yeah, I like that you mentioned becoming harmonic with the senses, and what you were saying earlier about the body. And some people are like, oh, like, I'm not my body. Like, they're all, attached to this absolute truth of like us being complete spirit, or, whatever, not separate, like that we're living in this relative reality in Earth. But what that brings up for me in hearing that is what you shared earlier about acceptance. Acceptance that we are in bodies now. Acceptance that we're human beings now. Acceptance that we're living on planet Earth now. These are relative realities that we're navigating and negotiating. And with that acceptance of those realities, then so much opens up. So much opens up. And suddenly, we're empowered. What I've noticed in myself in accepting that I have a body, like I am on Earth, I am a human, this is what I've got to work with right now. Then it's like, all right, let's see like what a human can be, and let's also see what can human society be, what can human groups be, what can this Earth, as inhabited by humans be, and like let's harmonically create that together. I mean, it's fun. It's an invitation. It's an invitation. You're invited. You're invited
Yeah.
to become a harmonic creator in your life and harmonically co-create this this better earth, this earth where we don't have to brainwash ourselves. You know, like the norm is like this expansive, open, compassionate space. Like we can create that together. That is just as possible as what we've got right now. You know, I believe that's where we're headed. You know, by virtue of all of us tuning in, me and Tina talking about this, y'all sharing about this, being drawn here. This is all very possible, and this is all forthcoming. But and all of these are skills that can be cultivated and embodied, like we've been sharing. And it's a practice. It's a day-to-day thing. It's not like a a one-off. You know.
And like
So.
you said in the very beginning, even just the smallest choice can be monumental. So just us in that practice of choosing things from a love space and really getting aware of where we're sourcing our actions and choices from, like fear or love, like harmonic creativity, or well, no.
Right, and you're doing it. You're doing it when you choose the glass of water instead of the glass of beer. You know, like you choose it when you take the time to make the smoothie for yourself. Right? You take the time to do the juice cleanse. Even though it's not a perfect juice cleanse, you're not making all the juice fresh for yourself, but you bought the juice cleanse and it's high pressure process, and you're taking that freaking time for yourself to drink juice for 3 days. Like you're doing it. We're harmonically creating at this very small level, and it changes everything. The biggest lie I think that's going around is that like we don't matter, and what we do doesn't matter, and what we think doesn't. There are a lot of big lies. Again, with the blanket statements, Tina.
No, but you actually just,
you know what I mean?
One that you just shared is actually one I'm working with.
It's a big one.
That I don't matter, that like people don't notice, or what I do doesn't matter. I'm not important. So you nailed a big one.
It's a big one. Yeah, but what we do, we each do matter. What we think matters. What we say matters. What we do, how we work, what kind of work we do. All of it matters so much, so big, and like that. Don't let that be overwhelming. Let it be empowering. It's like we're all creators of this. Our lives and like what we're experiencing collectively, and like we can work with it. We can make it better. We can make it harmonic. Nature's just doing it. Like she's like, oh, I'm like totally in this with y'all. Like I got you. This is why I think so many people start waking up when they go plant-based, when they go vegan. Well, certainly true for me. So you're eating more plants, and they're like, ooh, 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 ooh. Tuning you in to what is.
Going now.
I get excited. This stuff is so cool. This is so exciting. This is like the most exciting thing to me. It really is. I'm a nerd. I tell you all that like every live. I'm a total dork. This is what's exciting for me.
Again, the acceptance is happening.
Yeah.
So Taylor, I was wondering if you had anything to close with, if you're feeling complete, or if you'd like to share any kind of closing thoughts for.
I'm feeling us reaching completion. We've been going a long time. I think this is a conversation that will continue and take various different forms across time and space. And I think my overwhelming takeaway is just like the deepest gratitude. And if I were not at a vegan co-working cafe, I would like scream thank you right now. Like I'm just feeling like a really big cosmic just thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, and I love you, and thank you, and I love you. The two best prayers there are, in my humble opinion. Thank you and I love you. Thank you and I love you, Tina. Thank you and I love you, Taylor. Thank you and I love you, everyone who's tuned in, live and after this. Thank you and I love you.
Uh-huh. I was going to start this tea time with the song I Release Control and Surrender to the Flow. of love that will heal me. I'm complete. I'm so grateful for you, Taylor, and for everyone coming. You can find her at Joyful Raw Life, and your YouTube is
Taylor A. Norris. This will be on there. And this will be on Tina Cseuz's IGTV as well. What's your YouTube channel?
My YouTube currently is Tina Cseuz, Cseuz, and we look forward to seeing you in our next tea time. Happens monthly at the beginning, usually the first Tuesday, and we love you.
Yeah, we'll have to figure out when the next one is.
Have a beautiful time in Costa Rica.
Yeah, have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your day.
Thank you. Love you.
Love you. Infinite love. Mwah. Infinite love.
Infinite
love and gratitude.